Hello everybody and welcome to this Awesomenauts beta testing video with yours truly, SlowWolf. So, we're going to go ahead and try to look at some of the stuff that's been happening in the newest beta. Now, this is a little bit late, all things considered, but hey, let's go ahead and give it a shot, shall we? So, the big things that we have in this patch involve Sorona and Voltar. So, we're going to go ahead and show off those two things in particular. There's really actually a good deal going on with these two in particular. I think the Sorona change is going to be really, really good. But as for Voltar, I'm still very much undecided as to exactly what's happening with this guy and whether or not I like it. I'm not worried, I'm just saying. So, a couple of things right out of the gate. Why don't we go ahead and read these changes for the poor guy, or the happy guy, your choice. So, his burst damage with drones was not exactly what Ronimo wanted out of him. Being able to just kind of toss all of his drones at once and have them all explode and do a ridiculous amount of explode was not on their list of things to do. So they made it so that we can only toss one at a time, and they do have a cooldown, which is fine. It is what it is. It means you're still doing a ton of damage. Boink. Oh, nuts. That didn't kill him. Oh, no. You're still doing a ton of damage, which is all well and good. Oh, wow. I actually got that kill. But you're doing it spaced over time. Like, you can only toss it like once every like second or so. Like, you can still toss them relatively quickly, but you have to machine gun them. You still have to aim to get all your bursts, so that's fine. Now, the other thing is that they thought that the bullets weren't very reliable. So you guys probably already noticed this change as we were playing. But the Voltar drones now shoot lasers. And the lasers are totally wicked, awesome, fantastic. And just blast people like they look like phasers. That's what they do. They're phasers now. And they just blast away for 30 damage fairly quickly. It's easy to, like, they don't miss anymore. Like, they just don't miss. It's not what they do. So, yeah, that's a thing. On top of that, his low skill ceiling was an issue for these guys at Ronimo. So, as a result, they changed it. His heal bot, for starters. His heal bot takes a little while and then it goes off. Instead of having it just heal over time, the bot is kind of like a reverse clunk explode. And when I talked to Kuhn about it, that's exactly how he described it as well. It's a reverse clunk explode. It's the best that we could do, sort of deal in terms of giving him a skill ceiling with that ability. And all things considered, they did a decent job of it, I guess. Like, it does make it harder to use. That's always good. And then on top of that, his dominance in group healing and weak single target healing was on their list as well, things to hit. Before, all you do is spam your left click and heal everything for a tiny amount. What they wanted to do was change that so that way he did single target healing. And as you guys notice, I can throw out these little green balls of doom extremely quickly, like super fast. It's like Voltar decided to go ahead and pick up some like Sour Patch Kids, lots of them, and then just decided to shoot them at people. So he's not only high on sugar, but he's shooting Sour Patch Kids at people. And they do heal. They heal more if you're at a distance from the target. So right now I'm only healing for like 21 or something. But this drone, I'm healing for like 28, 29, 30 if I'm far enough. So the farther away you are from something, the more it heals it, which is nice and all. And then if you hit baddies with it, it'll actually deal damage. So you'll notice I can actually push down this turret using my left click. And it does a static amount of damage no matter what distance you seem to be from the target that you end up hitting. So, you know, things. And things are fine, I guess. Oh, there goes Yuri. That throw was real. But yeah, so you made it a single target thing, and it can either heal or do damage. It doesn't do both anymore. It only hits one target. So you have to, like, that is definitely more of a skill-based thing now, because you can't just spam it in a general direction and expect it to do everything you want it to do. You actually have to aim it. But you still just spam it. That's still very much a factor, and that kind of factors into my opinion about this character right now. Like, there's something to be said about this character who people had problems with being spammy, and all he does now is spam his face off. Like, here, have some lemons. That's pretty much exactly what I'm shooting right here. I'm shooting limes. Have some limes, folks. Here you go. So you shoot limes now, and they do damage or other stuff. Alright, they also got rid of his solar gain on his heal wave. So no more solar gain on his heal wave. You just have to make do. Okay, and if people are wondering whether or not the worm is still going to be a thing, it will be. I'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, Voltar's been changed a lot, and we'll talk about him later. Let's go ahead and talk about Sorona now. Sorona has had a distinctly shorter list of things to go different with it, but it is a very significant list of things to go different with it. There we go. And the first thing you guys will notice is that when you walk out of the gate, that there's this business going on, and everyone's like, hey, what's going on with this business? Why does this business exist? Well, you can get up here a lot safer now if it's on your team, so you actually have an advantage instead of getting caged in, which is great. Like, yeah, like that is a very intelligent level design decision, because it means that the other guys can't just control the level all by themselves. You can actually hop up here and get it yourself. You don't have to be frogged to get it safely now anymore if you're on your back foot, which is great. It's awesome. I totally approve. Now, Ronimo's in a big binge about getting rid of moving platforms. And lo and behold, look, moving platforms are gone. Now, I fully expect them to do the exact same thing to Ribbit. They're going to get rid of the 2 moving platforms on the bottom, I expect, anytime soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Oh, hey, how's it going, you jerk? There we go. So, yeah, I don't expect it to take very long for them to do that. Other things that you might have noticed is that the level seems a bit more cramped. You can actually see the middle from the turret a little bit. And that is exactly correct. Like, they shortened the level in the middle by about 50%, so you can actually get across the field now in a reasonable amount of time. It's not as big a level by any stretch. And what they're hoping that that'll do is cut down on the time that Sorona takes to actually be a game. Like, Sorona is notorious for being one of the maps that takes the longest to complete. And so I fully expect that this change will help with that, but not as much as I'm betting they're hoping it does. Honestly, Awesomenauts has turned into a bit of a poke fest, as things are right now, and changing the size of a level won't change it too much. Aiguillon is, granted, a lot better off than some other things, because, Aiguillon's Aiguillon, but it's nice and short. You have the invisible, but it still takes a while. Like, I've played hour-long games on that map, and it's, short and it's cramped. And then you got Ribbit 4. I've played hour-long games on there too, and it's short and it's cramped. So making the level shorter is not going to really have that desired effect, but it will have the desired effect of making the game more interesting, because it will force people to actually fight one another, which is good, which is really good. I'm really happy about that. Overall, I think that this, like, the map has been changed for the better. Now, what's equally interesting about this is that the deny mechanic here has not changed. It just has not. There is no change here in whether or not you get the extra solar if you control the middle. The middle is still very much the most important thing to control in this map, and will continue to be so for some time to come. Now, you'll know, like the deny still exists. You can still pick up the solar underneath it. There's just 1 solar coin missing, and then on top of it you actually have the HP, which arguably makes middle even more important. They moved it out of the middle here, so it's now riskier to get the HP, but having access to that worm is even more important than it once was. So, that's maybe not a bad thing. You want games to have objectives, especially Awesomenauts, you want to have something in it that forces people to come and fight for whatever's happening, and you have to have it be a limited resources. That's important. It's how you need to design the game. But all things considered, Sorona has been changed for the better. Like, this is probably the best part about all the changes. Like, the worms kind of like, okay, whatever. The moving platforms in the middle, okay, whatever. The ceiling height on the level, okay, that's pretty cool. Gets rid of the Vinny issue at least a little bit. Having these platforms in the middle, it's pretty freaking sweet, because it means that you can actually, like, deal with the Vinny that's jumping around all over the place. You're like, hey, Vinny, hey, yo, what do you think you're doing? Hey, buddy, what do you think you're doing, huh? What are you doing? Nothing. That's right. I can actually keep up with you now. I can fly too. Anybody that can jump properly is actually going to get a benefit out of those platforms, and it's going to be pretty sweet. But this is the coolest part, because now it's like, oh no, I'm stuck behind my turret. I can't get out. I'm going to lose. Well, you know what? Not anymore, because I can actually jump up here, and that way my opponents don't actually get my creeps for it. Like, it's just nice. On top of it, you're running away, and then, phew, I'm safe. Like, you have another escape. You don't have to go this way anymore, where it's super predictable. You actually have another option to get away and to jump up and help your friends. Like, if you're down here behind the turret and all of a sudden your buddy's coming in from behind, you're like, hey, I want to help him out, you can jump up here and help him out. So there's, like, this is genius. This is great. I love this change. This is fantastic. Now let's talk about Voltar. I talked to Kuhn, And one of the things that we ended up talking about was Voltar, go figure. And one of the main changes that they wanted to do with Voltar was to make him less spammy. They wanted to make him more interesting to play and have a higher skill cap. So, on one end, you know, mission accomplished, he does have a higher skill cap. I'm not saying it's, like, ridiculously high skill cap right now. In fact, I'm arguing that, honestly, they've made the skill cap better in some areas and worse in others. In one area, for instance, the heal bot, now harder to use, and although the ability itself is maybe a little bit more boring for it, in that it's just a backwards clunk explode, it is still far harder to use, and that's totally okay. I'm fine with this, because it means that, like, you don't have, like, this invincible tank business going on. You have a timer, and people can actually get rid of it. Like, good, smart players can be like, hey, I see that heal bot, let's go ahead and get rid of it before it heals everybody for, like, a clunk explodes worth of damage. Like, you can do a good amount of healing with it if it's allowed to go off. And not allowing it to go off is now a choice that players have to make. That's cool. That's awesome. I like that. That's a good skill ceiling change in the right direction. Fully approved. Now, on the other hand, we've got the drones. The drones are all like, oh, well, if you just right-click, it does 800 burst damage. Okay, yeah, the 800 burst damage is a little annoying, and now in order to do the burst damage, you actually have to work for it. But I've never seen drones be easier to use than this. Actually, I remember when there was one time where they were this easy to use. Just one time. And I remember they got promptly were nerfed into oblivion for it. So, you know what? I'm not exactly thinking that this, like, as the drones are right now, making them shoot lasers, phasers, really cool idea. I love the aesthetic look of it. But it, gameplay-wise, is easier to play than anything else Voltar's ever had to do in his life. It's not difficult to just walk up and phaser people. The only good news is that they do not... Never mind, they do phaser turrets. My bad. They'll phaser turrets so long as droids are nearby to phaser. That's a little weird, actually. That's probably a bug. And I missed that. Okay, oops. See what I mean about the healbot being a skill ceiling thing now, though? I can't just, like, hang around it and automatically get it. Like, they can force me out of the range, too. That's cool. But the drones are easier to use than ever. So, the phasers, I'm not so sold on it. His heal wave. Oh, my goodness, where do I start? Heal wave... Heal wave is heal wave. You can spec into damage, where I'm currently doing 105 damage a swing there, which is... You know, it's pretty sweet. In fact, I'd hazard a guess is to say that that's pretty goddamn bananas as far as numbers are concerned. But you can spec into damage, or you can spec into healing. Like, my healing is still 30 heals a tick. Like, that's it. Like, at most. Right? Yeah, there we go. So, the heals don't change in this case. The damage, it does. Like, I'm actually damaging for a lot more. And does it do... decent amount against turrets? Yeah, it'll do a decent amount against turrets. So numbers-wise, it's broken out of your ass. But what we need to talk about in this case is the mechanics. We know it's going to be broken. Like, this is like beta number 1. There's absolutely no way that this stuff is not going to be broken. Like, look at these lasers. Look at the phasers. Look at the phasers go. They just tear stuff apart. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're going to talk about the actual mechanics and see whether or not they're interesting. And in this case, they are not. I am sorry, but no. Bad job. The mechanics in this case are just the spam as they used to be. You just hold left click and look how fast they go. You're shooting out limes like it's no one else's business. Shooting out limes all the times, and I can just shoot the limes. Just keep shooting the limes. Coupled with the drones, it's just like, okay, I've got a perfectly skillful build going on here. The only thing I have to worry about now is just when do I middle click? When do I drop the heal bot? And then that's it. That's the only skillful part about Voltar in this case. Nothing else has changed. He's just as frustratingly, mind-numbingly boring as before. In fact, he's probably even worse, because Psychokinetic Thrust is gone. There's no such thing as Psychokinetic Thrust. Actually, there is. But the difference here is that Psychokinetic Thrust is now based on range and damage. That's it. Like, I could go, like, full left click and look how fast this thing shoots and everything, but, like, this is just as spammy as it was before. I'm not getting anything out of this. There's nothing else to this. That's it. The only interesting part about Voltar right now is the fact that he can drop a heal bot, and it takes timing and skill in order for the heal bot to go off without A, dying, and B, you know, it's how he actually goes off and hits people. Like, people actually have to commit to being healed by the bot. Oh my goodness. Look at these limes. Look at the limes go. I can heal for 40 from this distance. Yeah, the numbers need to be tweaked. But, okay, I'm going to see if I can't die. Let's see what happens if I try to die here a little. Oh, no, no, okay. I'm just going to left-click this scoop down to death. Yeah. So, numbers-wise, obviously not cool. But game mechanics-wise, he's just as frustratingly boring as before. You just left-click and you go. It's just like before. You left-click and you go. You just left-click different things. His drones hit more accurately, more reliably, and more awesomely than ever before. And I like phasers. I love Star Trek. I could teach an entire philosophy course using Star Trek. I love Star Trek and I love phasers. But dear Lord, are they boring. Oh. So, how do we fix this? Oh, I don't know. I've got my opinions. Honestly, Voltar, as he stands right now, is a terribly boring character to play in this beta. He just is the way he is. There's not a lot of skill behind it. So what you need to do is change things up. And they need to change them up more. Voltar right now seems very much close to home, and which is not what Kuhn and I discussed. I remember when Kuhn and I talked about this, he said that they really wanted to change Voltar in a way that made him more dynamic. And I'm like, okay. So I added a couple of ideas. And one of the ideas I had was that maybe his left click should actually be the drones. And they don't explode anymore. You just, as you click and hold it, it shoots Yuri lasers. But each one shoots a different Yuri laser, and they all converge on where your cursor is, up to a certain range. And at that point, they each deal, like, I don't know, 10 damage a tick, but if you've got 3 of them, they deal 30 damage a tick fairly quickly, and then if you got 4 of them, they deal 40 damage a tick, and then if you get the damage upgrades, they can do a lot. They can do a decent amount. And at that point, you can be like, okay, sweet, so I've got Healbot, it's got the big healing pulse, that's fantastic. And then you have to think of what another, like, for his heal wave, you can make his heal wave his right click and his damage his left click, and then that way you can do both sort of at the same time, which makes his gameplay far more active. At that point, you just need to figure out, though, how do I make the heal wave more, I don't know, interesting to use? And in this case, I like the idea of it being single target. It's just a problem that it's single target, and you can just push and hold it, and you're good. So, yeah, all that. Outside of that, we've got price changes and a couple of issues for Nibs that were fixed. Nothing particularly important. So, good job, Nibs. You got some bug fixes. Sniper and tie brush shouldn't have any more wonky shit that goes together. Sentry's description was changed to tactical. It's little stuff. Honestly, the big thing with all of this, all of this stuff for this patch is Sorona, which honestly I think was a great move. I love what they did with Sorona. And Voltar, which right now he needs work. He mechanically needs work. It's not number. Like I don't even care about the numbers. The numbers were hilarious. I had a hoot testing the numbers. If you want to have yourself a good time and go on a power trip, don't bother with Diablo. Just or any other game where you go on a power trip and you just farm stuff for the explosion size of it. Just pick up Voltar. Pick up Voltar, go into a match, and then just max out his drones and watch everything die. It's hilarious. I love the numbers. They're funny, but they're not balanced. And his mechanics are just bad. They just his mechanics need work. That's all I gotta say. He needs, like, this redesign was not enough. He needs to be differently redesigned. And I'm not gonna stuff words in Ronimo's mouth. Ronimo has to figure it out for themselves. But if you want my opinion, you gotta make his left click. You gotta make his damage more dynamic. And you gotta make his heal more meaningful. Like, if you want to give him single target heals, okay. But don't make it something that you just spam. Like, make it something that you, like, has a cooldown, and you, like, toss out, like, a pulse or something. Like an actual wave the size of a Voltar that goes out, and you can get it so that way it has an upgrade for the knockback on it, and then that way you can use it, like, once every 10 seconds. And it's, like, it's a super heal wave or something like that, and it gives a heal over time rather than an actual burst heal or something. I don't know. But there's got to be something different going on here, because right now he's just as spammy as before, and it's not fun. It's just not. Now, why don't we go ahead and just pick up a frog. You know what? No, not that skin frog. That skin frog. We're going to go ahead and actually check out Aiguillon. There was a couple more changes, and we're just going to finish off with those changes before we go ahead and sign off for the night. Come on, let's go. Down we get. Now, as far as the patch notes tell me, I'm not even looking at the coins, so sorry about that. Where are they? Aiguillon lowered the glass platform behind the back top turrets and added a platform there. Okay. Replace the moving platform in the neutral areas with 2 static platforms. So as I mentioned before, they changed things up so that way there are no more moving platforms. And you know what? As much as the moving platforms added variety and depth to the game in a sense, because it was like, okay, look, there's some RNG, means that it's not always the same. This is okay. So right now, this one will still be hard for some characters to do. Frog can do it, but this area right here is what we're talking about. That's pretty cool. And this glass pad there is the one that needs to be fixed. Like, that's the one that gets people really up in a tizzy when people talk about the glass pads. This one doesn't even have a glass pad anymore. So, oops. I don't know, I made a mistake there. But, like, this one still moves. If they wanted to go ahead and fix this map, they would have a glass platform that ends right about here. That's where they have the glass platform, and that'd be it. And, like, this is a good start. Like, this is okay. This allows certain characters like Voltar and stuff to get upstairs a lot easier. Genji, in particular, because I like Genji. They could use another glass platform, or, like, move this one down a touch. I don't know. But, like, it's okay right where it is. It's fine. And then these glass platforms just need to stop. Like, they just need to stop right about here. That's it. And then we're good. And then, like, Aguillon is, you know, all pro-ified. Which is, it's fine. It's where the game's going, and that's where it needs to go in order for it to remain balanced and keep a good player base and all the rest of it. Oh, where did Ted go? I'm not done with you yet, Ted. I will kill you. No, I won't. Oh, wait, I might. No, I won't. Okay. But yeah, like this area, it's pretty cool. And I like how they did that with Sorona too. Sorona had a lot of work done to it. Now, next up, they got to deal with Ribbit on that front, so. Oh, and AI 201. I think AI 201's fine, though. I haven't checked out the platforms there, but yeah, there you have it. These are the Aguillon changes. There's some issues with it. They're going to fix that in the next patch for sure. They already know about that issue for sure. You've got all the Voltar changes, which are interesting, though ultimately not. I don't find them interesting, or like they're interesting, but ultimately I find them not what we need. And then the Sorona changes, which I find are good, and are like they're really good, but they're not going to fix the problem necessarily. I think the problem's more just how the game plays rather than where the levels are, how the levels are. So that's it for now. Thank you everybody for watching this beta video with yours truly, SlowWolf. If you want to see the details, I'll have the patch notes in the description below, so go ahead and click those, read those for yourself. If you guys want like a proper patch analysis, oh, here we go. Here's another glass platform that they just added, so that way you don't have to use the glass platform that moves up and down. You can actually use this one. It makes it a little bit easier. Okay, that's cool. Didn't realize that one. But yeah, if you guys want to have like a proper like full patch analysis video, let me know, and then I can go in depth on every single one of them. But yeah, this was just for Voltar and for Sorona. So yeah, thanks everybody so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I know I sure did. And I'll see you guys in the next video. My face! That hurt a lot. Alright, later!